So talking is probably the best self-medicine that you could give yourself. I was the person who never talked. I thought I was this alpha male, super strong, blah, blah, blah. I'm not. None of us are, regardless of what you may think. We have to talk.
Faisal, great to have you on and to catch up, actually. It's been a while since we've properly spoken, but how are things?
Mate, the last time we spoke was on top of a mountain. So, yeah, I'm very happy to be here. Thank you very much. Looking forward to getting into this chat.
Indeed, indeed. And I know everything's opening up a bit your end. You're back in the thick of it in London, and things will be taking a sharp upturn in terms of some sense of return to normality, which must be exciting.
Yeah, some sense. It is. It's just nice to see people and friends that we've not seen like quite regularly in the last year. And yeah, in terms of what we do for work and everything, there's opportunities are starting to arise, and it's just a good buzz at the moment. The last 2-3 weeks, it's just been busy. Yes. And it's not been busy for the last year, so it's just nice to be busy.
Playing catch up.
Yeah,
but yeah,
exactly.
First question, and one that I think I'm going to run with consistently moving forwards is, in a sentence, who is Faisal Abdalla?
Whoa! Who's Faisal Abdalla? I am, in a sentence, oh my God, Fergus. Okay, so I'm known as Mr PMA, which stands for Positive Mental Attitude. I am a fitness coach and larger-than-life character. I believe that the physical and mental health plays such a huge part through the pathway of fitness. Like we can use fitness to really achieve a better version of ourselves physically and mentally. And that's what I'm all about. I'm about spreading that message and just enjoying life, really. That's me.
Yeah, it's alarmingly simple when you actually distill it down to that, isn't it?
It really is.
Yeah. I'm fully with you on the fitness being a pathway for a better version of yourself, and it can sound a bit trite sometimes because it's overdone. But at the end of the day, you're just taking control of things that you can, and that teaches you lessons that you might not have otherwise learned, I guess, isn't it?
Yeah, it sounds simple when you put it on paper like that, or you say it out loud. But the majority of people find it hard. You know, they don't have the right tool set, or they don't know where to begin, and so forth. So it's the profile that I've built. I just hope that I can aid people in just finding that first step, and then it's kind of like a domino effect. So yeah, it sounds easy, but for the likes of you and I, Fergus, it would come kind of quite naturally. But for day-to-day people, it's quite hard to do. So that's why we're here.
Yeah. With that in mind, I mean, it's not just a social media act that you play. It's not just let's portray this version of myself, and then behind closed doors, I'm actually a miserable bastard. Every time I spend time with you, you are the biggest ball of energy in the room, without fail. You are quite literally Mr PMA, and I'm interested what stage in your life did you realise that was what made you a little bit different to everyone else? Because you were always so positive, so full of energy, and so focused on what's good around you rather than focusing on the negatives, which is the easier thing to do. When did that start in your life?
Yeah, that's a good question. I've got my parents to thank for that, really. I had a very amazing childhood and upbringing. I was very active. My mum and dad put me into summer camps and weekend clubs, and I did everything from sailing boats to ballroom dancing. So just that immersion into just being positive and having to have good people skills, and I think just being in loads of different varieties and different modalities of activities just kind of created my it's natural, my positivity is natural, but it definitely was enhanced, and it grew through my parents putting me into all these different activities. And I've always just been happy. I've always just had this mindset of life is good. And don't get me wrong, like I didn't grow up with a silver spoon in my mouth or anything like that, but I was just always taught to, be grateful and understanding of what we have. And a lot of it comes through my religion, so my dad and mum brought me up as a Muslim, and, without getting too religious, there's so many teachings that you transfer into everyday life. So, if we skip a few years from, being a 10-year-old boy to then starting college when I was 17, and, I don't drink and alcohol, and all my mates were going out, and a part of, college life is going out to the clubs and drinking and so forth. And I would do all that to the clubs and parties and stuff, but I'd be sober, and I'd be drinking my Red Bulls. And people would come up to me and go, or they'd say to their mates, going, "What's he taking tonight? Because I'd like some of that." And they'd be, "Oh, no, or Faisal, oh no, he doesn't drink." They're like, "What?" I'd be the first person on the dance floor. I'd be the first person, chatting to the different group of friends or whatever. And I just enjoyed the music and the positive vibes. And so that was like the beginning of it, really, for me, when people started telling me, "Oh, what have you taken?" or "Why are you so happy?" Because for me, it was just normal. Until I started, properly socializing and realizing that, some of my friends needed to have 6 pints before they could have a good time. Do you know what I mean? I'd say that in quotes. And I just I couldn't get my head around it. I really couldn't understand why people had to take something to feel good. It's like, it should just naturally be in you. So that's when it started to realize, oh, okay, cool. My positivity is slightly higher or different to others. And I would always kind of just attract, people's energy. It was, I don't know, it's just a weird thing, mate. I don't want to sound too
no. It's funny though, because it sounds innate, and I think you understand that there's innate sort of inherited element to it, and it brings up the nature nurture debate to some sense, doesn't it? But
100%.
It might not be something you've thought about, but do you think if you hadn't had such a varied and sort of explorative upbringing, you would have the same mindset and viewpoint that you do now?
I probably would, through my mum and my dad. They're a fantastic combination. Like, my mum is the outgoing one, the thinking outside the box, always wanting to be active and so forth. And my dad is the commander. My dad would walk into a room and everyone would respect him and have their eyes on him. And my dad, throughout his career was a police officer, but he was always the top of his game police officer in all the different departments he was in. So I gained a lot from my dad in terms of that natural law of attraction. Just people were attracted to my dad. Like, they just wanted to be his mate. They wanted to be around him. So I got that. And then all the activities and the laughter and my mum's Irish, my dad's Egyptian. So it's a strange mix anyway. So, the nature nurture thing, I think it would definitely, regardless of all the different physical activities that my parents put me through, I think I'd still be the way I am, today. So
it's interesting. I mean, we'll never be able to sort of reflect on what hasn't happened, but it's an amazing thing that you've evolved to where you are now and having this impact on people. And
yeah,
I mean, it has been a real impact on people. And I think from the moment you realised you managed to spread your positivity into others, that's where the rest of your life really began, isn't it? I mean, you've been in the industry, in the space of owning PMA within the UK for almost 14 years now, am I right in saying?
I suppose so, maybe. Mr PMA was given to me. Again, it's like you said. What word did you use? Ornate? Is that the right word?
Innate.
I don't know. Innate. Sorry. That nickname was thrown upon me, but I always used to end my sessions of pull down your positive mental attitude. I never went around going, "Oh, my name's Mr PMA." People were, "Oh, there's Mr PMA," And that's when I decided to change, because back then Instagram wasn't so like business. There was no like business Instagram accounts. It was just like chuck up some instant images and away you go. And there was no like game plan. I would just go into my work, teach my class, have so much fun, a genuine love of what I did, and then people would go, oh, there's Mr PMA and blah blah blah. So it only came to a realization for me of like, oh, okay, cool, people are seeing me like this now, so let's adopt that and let's roll with it and see how it goes. And it worked out well.
Yeah, no, it has done, and I think what shines through really clearly is that you absolutely love what you do, and I don't think there's anyone to dispute that, and have done for a long time, which is a great position to be in. It's one that I've recently found myself finally landing on my feet in, which is fantastic from a personal point of view. But given the year we've all had, given the people that you've worked with, given the participants in your classes, I guess, for those that don't or necessarily haven't found the thing that they love, aren't doing the thing that they love on a day-to-day basis, what are the sort of methods, little tips that you've got to try and help people harness a bit more of a constant mindset of PMA, rather than letting the easy things to think, the negatives, the what-ifs, settle in? Because that's what we're hardwired to think as human beings, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. One thing, there's multiple tools in which you can do to like become a more positive person. A simple tool is to replace the words get with have. So if you say to yourself, so the other way around, I have with get. So if you say to yourself, oh, I have to do a 10K, it's like, no, you get to do a 10K. Oh, I have to do the Zoom call with work today. It's like, no, you get to do the Zoom call with work today. There are so many, and once you replace those two simple words, it changes your whole mindset. It changes your mindset to a negative, to a positive. And you realize like, oh, I'm actually in a really good position here. Like, I'm still at work. I still have an able body to do physical activities. And I have to call my mum again today, FaceTime. No, you get to call your mum again, FaceTime. Some people don't have their mums. Some people lost their mums in the last year. And so that's what I've been kind of banging on recently about, is switching those two words around. And it instantly, 9 times out of 10, should change that person's mindset to a more positive and better outcome. Awesome.
And I think I want to get your opinion on a concept that we've discussed already on this podcast with Gaz Banford, who is the ex-Sergeant Major of the SBS. And we discussed the concept of neutral thinking and how positive mental attitude, positive thinking is almost the best case scenario for a lot of situations. But in that 1 out of 10 situation that you referred to, the sort of when things go really south, really out of your control, really get knocked for six, and it's hard to think positively to the point where it's almost better to just think neutrally. Do you think you can always put a positive spin on a negative situation, or do you think sometimes it's better just to default to neutral? It is what it is. Let's get through this and then figure out the positives on the other side. Because it can be very difficult sometimes to think positively in those negative situations, can't it?
The 9 times out of 10, yes, I will always find a positive. But that 1 times out of 10, I've been there myself. It's 100%, what you said there with neutral thinking, to almost like ride it out, but understand and accept that negative place that you're in, or that dark place that you're in, will not last. Like, so 100% accept it, process it, feel it. I definitely disagree with so being positive isn't being perfect. It's not walking around being, Mr. Prince Charming every single second of the day. It's being human. So, you need to feel down. You need to be in that. So that 1 out of 10 situation, 100% neutral thinking, feel what you're feeling, talk to someone that you love and that you trust. Time will pass, and then we can start picking out the positives of what we learn, and hopefully that will be the domino effect of getting into the 9 out of 10.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I think it's a good way to put it into a general day-to-day perspective. And I mean, even one positive of riding something out is that you rode it out, for example, isn't it? It's ability. It builds resilience, and resilience is something that can A, go dormant, or B, be developed. And I know that's where a lot of the pathway through fitness for a better existence will probably develop, because you'll know quite how much you can learn about yourself and how much you can develop through pushing your boundaries. And I'd just like to pull out some sort of highlights from your career so far. What have been the most valuable experiences that you've had with other people, with changing people's lives as part of this process that you're on and still on?
I've had a few. It's weird, Fergus, to talk like this, because like it's you've got to keep your feet on the ground and your head in the sky. And for a long time, my whole body was in the clouds. Like I really did think, oh, I'm untouchable. I'm such a great person. I'm doing this and that. And my son came along and grounded me. So I feel like I'm content with who I am right now. I know what my direction is and everything. And I'm basically just saying, like, not to get ahead of yourself, because you have the platform and responsibility to help and change other people's lives. Because at the end of the day, Mr PMA is an absolute small timer. I'm a nobody, all right? But I have had some amazing stories where, people were in a suicidal state. I had someone write me a handwritten letter. Let's just start there, first of all.
That's incredible, yeah. That's incredible.
A handwritten letter in this day and age was amazing. And she basically said that her brother was in a suicidal state, had attempted multiple times to end his life. And I didn't know the guy, but she said that he started following my Instagram account. And my Instagram account isn't a suicide prevention account. It's just workouts and, like me dancing. But she said that he started following my account and adopted my methodology. And she said that, he went to go seek help and speak to people and so forth who are professional in that field. And she wanted to personally thank me for being that first stepping stone for him to come out of that state that he was in. And I don't know the girl. I didn't know the guy. It's just me being me. And I was like, obviously I wrote back and I just thanked them so much. And so stories like that. And I had someone who was in Thailand in a real bad mental state with her obesity. She was, really obese, and she started following me on Instagram in Thailand, and she was like, yo, this guy, it's a love or hate. Like, you could look at me and be like, that's not for me, or you could be like, amazing. And she said she started following me, and then a few months later, posted about my retreat that I did in the Cotswolds, and she came to it, and like the day she arrived to the day she left, it was just the transformation in 4 days was amazing. So I've had some really big, amazing, like, so grateful to be able to help people in those particular bigger situations. And they're just the day-to-day ones, like people who are just in a bad mood. I on a daily routine, I get people just message me going, when I say, good morning, Instagram, what's happening, people everywhere? When I do that, people message me going, oh, thanks so much, needed that today. Or my Motivation Monday on Mondays, they go, yes, needed to hear that today, thank you so much. Just that little pick me up. If I'm able to, if my words or my actions on Instagram are able to just have that little pick me up. It's like when me and you, for me anyway, if I was to watch a montage of The Rock training, or if I was to watch Pumping Iron, or watch Mo Farah, whatever, that's a pick me up for me. I'm like, ooh, okay, cool. It's that feeling. It's that little injection of endorphin. So if I'm able to do that on a daily basis for people, then that's money can't buy that feeling. So
no, it's very, very rewarding. I think you've highlighted two specific examples there, but there'll be thousands and thousands of smaller, and there'll be thousands that you won't even know about, which is a some badge to wear, really. So first of all, I think congratulations are in order, because it's been. I mean, I see it from a third party point of view, the impact that you have on people, and it's amazing to see. Amazing to see, and I think with Mental Health Awareness Week looming next week, we are recording this the Thursday beforehand. There is going to be a lot of virtue signalling, a lot of wishy-washy commentary on the topic throughout the week, and I think if we can try and get ahead of that, because I know you and I have discussed this at length in the past, but we share a similar opinion, and we've both had suicide affect us in our own ways, in different ways, but the concept's still very much prevalent in our own lives. And I think I'm just keen to hear more about the themes that run throughout the people that you've had a positive impact on. If you can extract some themes that people can maybe start to process in their own minds, that they can apply to their own lives, what would be the things that you take out and distill it down to, if you could?
I think the majority of people that I have helped have taken away routine.
Okay.
I don't think they had much routine when it came to fitness, and I don't think they understood how powerful training and working out can actually be. I think there's this barrier of that, which I mean, I can totally see it. We see abs and booties and people running marathons in crazy times, and people, it can be very daunting and intimidating, and that barrier is stopping people from realizing their own journey of walking for 10 minutes, or going for a swim, or doing a 20-minute hit session or whatever. Training doesn't need to be what we see in the movies and the professionals doing whatever. And I really feel that I did a block of personal training 2 years ago. I did a 12-week PT block, and 3 of the women that I had just kind of just did the PT because they wanted to train with me. It was that initial phase, I get to train with Faisal, that's amazing, so cool. Yeah, I'll get fit as well. And then they slowly realised, they're like, oh no, this fitness thing, it's not just fitness, it's life. And that saying there, it's always stuck with me. It's not just fitness, it's life. It's something I would scream at the top of my voice during classes. So they've adopted routine. They've understood that they can, when you wake up in the morning and you mentally feel switched on, and you physically feel not, just awake and energized, that right there makes sense to keep that up. If you wake up and you're mentally slow, you feel tired in your head, you feel tired in your body, you've got to go to work today, life is so crap. It's that transition of just waking up and feeling better, and a routine, a structure of fitness and good eating and sleeping well, and all these different modalities mixed into one is a real simple process to get you into a better state. And I think that's what my clients have taken away from me. It's it isn't rocket science. It just requires a little bit of hard work and consistency. And, there's no end goal. There's specific goals of, I'd love to lose this amount of body fat, or I'd like to run a marathon. That's cool. But then after that, there's another goal. And after that, there's another goal. And, so there is no end goal. It's just a continuous journey of being better and being happier and being physically fit. One of my clients, she had 3 kids, and she said that I'm just tired all the time. And she messaged me a couple of weeks after our training, and she was like, I'm just on top of it now. I feel like I can interact with my children, and I feel like I can, be more active with them. And I'm just like, amazing. That's fitness. That's, you don't need to have 8-pack and look a certain way. This is life. So, did I answer your question?
I think so. Yeah. No, it's. It's one very extractable thing, which is routine, but the power of a routine grounded in fitness. Because I've always viewed it as it's a structure that can anchor me down in a world that is otherwise quite unstructured. And if I keep that structure in place, then it's within my power. And if I one day think, I'm years past this now, but it took me years and years to get to the point where it was a complete non-negotiable. But if I start to think, I'll put it off today, I'll do it tomorrow. This isn't a dress rehearsal. We get one chance to live the life that we've got. And if we keep acting like there's another opportunity here or there, the longer we wait, the more we'll regret it further down the line, potentially. And for me, it's whether that routine is fitness or whether it's a combination of reading a bit more, walking a bit more, doing 2 HIIT sessions a week, doing a class here, because there's the community side of things that comes into this as well, which I know you're huge on. And community, I think, is what I was lacking, which started my personal downfall with depression and ultimately a suicide attempt, because I didn't feel like I belonged anywhere.
Yeah.
And what I feel that the fitness community gives is a real broad, accessible community for people to feel like they belong. And that's quite difficult in this day and age, because the Western world, for want of a better phrase, is a bit fucked. So it's just a case of trying to find where you fit in this chaotic existence and then doing more of that, because that should, anthropologically speaking, make you happier.
Yeah, definitely. Touching upon community and friendships, it's a beautiful thing to see people coming together and genuinely being friends. So I've had the it's an honor. I've had the honor of having my own little community at Barry's, and then I created. So when I did my retreats, I've done 3 individual retreats in the Cotswolds and 3 individual, groups of 20 people, created communities. And after the retreat, they had friendships, and I had someone propose to his fiance in my class. It was that type of just connection. Is just phenomenal. And recently, in the last 12 months, I've created another online community, and there are friends in Essex to Wales. They've not seen each other yet, but they're planning on going to see each other. And I've got a family in Arkansas over in America, and they've got banners of Team PMA and stuff. And
it's amazing. It's amazing.
It is. It's just mind blowing. I did a Zoom workout. I changed the time of it to suit my schedule, and I did it at 6 p.m. on a Friday. And I've got a client in China. And she woke up at 1 a.m., Fergus, just to do the Zoom. She didn't need to. She could have done it the day afterwards, but she wanted to see everyone else on that Zoom working out. And so for me, that power of community is that sense of belonging. And and specifically these people, the online community, they've not seen each other physically. They don't know what people look like in person, what they feel like, what they smell like. How do they... so for me, it's amazing that these people have come together online, and they've got their own little WhatsApp group and they're messaging. So I've just created the bridge, and they've just gone boom together. So for me to be the kind of almost catalyst to that is it's just amazing. So I'm sure they're grateful for me, but I'm more grateful for them, really. So the power of community, and like you said, the power of feeling like you belong somewhere, I think is really important.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing, and I think I'm conscious that we could easily be falling into the trap of 2 fitness professionals that are just talking about things that ultimately, to those that aren't in that space, sound like we have no right to be talking about. But I think if we boil it down, the way we view things is that fitness routine structures are simply a catalyst for a better life. That might be a positive workplace, it might be a really good relationship with your family, but fitness is a really easy, low-hanging fruit for you to take control of to start on that stepping stone to be a journey, on the journey of being a better version of yourself. And I found that had I not taken that first step years and years ago, I wouldn't have learnt all the things from a professional point of view, from a self-awareness point of view, from an interacting with other people point of view, had I not had that low-hanging fruit structure that I took control of when I was younger. And I think that's why your community is so engaged, is because they've learnt the power of, wow, I've taken this one simple step and look where it's got me, out with the Zoom classes, out with the online Facebook group, WhatsApp group, whatever it is. Here I am excelling in my job. Here I am excelling and with a smile on my face, most importantly. And I think that's why it's so powerful. So for anyone that thinks that the fitness industry is somewhat overplayed when it comes to talking about these things, I will argue against that, because it's one of the most powerful things we have available to us. That's just right there.
100%. And I've had multiple people like change jobs to become a PT or to become a fitness instructor. You know, I knew someone who was high up in like a cosmetic company. I knew a lawyer. She was a lawyer, but because she didn't enjoy what she was doing and she enjoyed coming to, you know, classes, and, you know, at the end of the day, you'd come, you'd do a class, you'd have a protein shake, you'd have a little bit of chit chat, and she decided to do her, you know, PT qualification. And so that transition, I'm seeing so much more of that, like office 9-to-5 job into freelance, like teach a class here, have a couple of clients, and you make 100% you'll be taking a pay cut, but you then you get an increase in happiness.
Yeah.
So it's actually a promotion all round. So I'm seeing that transition. I mean, I've seen it for the last kind of like 4 or 5 years in people just coming into fitness. So it's not just about the aesthetics. It's about how it's making people's lives better completely. So it's very interesting.
I think the important thing is to ask the question, isn't it? Because it's very easy to get stuck going through the motions in the modern world that we live in, and time can pass quickly, years can pass, and you think, actually, have I been truly happy doing what I've been doing? And I'm lucky to have asked myself that question at a younger age than I think most would, but that's come out of the back of a negative experience that has really forced me to consider that. But I think from a day-to-day mental health, mental well-being point of view, what's really important is to be constantly analysing actually what is making me happy, what isn't making me happy, and then to try and do more of what does and do less of what doesn't. And if that means a change of profession, if you can make it work financially, etc., etc. But there's things you can do around that to bring yourself up a level or two, and then ultimately 2 years down the line, you might be in a better position. But if you don't do anything today, it's going to be further down the line before anything changes. So it's the compound interest effect, isn't it? The little steps you take now can change your life sooner rather than later. And whether it's in 2 weeks' time, whether it's in 2 years' time, or whether it's in 5 years' time, if you want to make a change, you need to take the first step.
Yeah, 100%. You know that that YouTube clip of Shia LaBeouf just saying, "Just do it."
Yeah.
You said it yesterday. Tomorrow, just do it. Like, sometimes I just send my clients down. I'm like, listen, just listen to Shia LaBeouf having an absolute like raging rant about just do it. It really is that simple. But like you said, it could take a day, a week, 2 years, 5 years. But over whatever period, just having that action of getting up and doing step by step, little bite-sized goals, you can get there. You really can.
Yeah. It's an amazing thing. It's an amazing thing, and I think just to sort of flip this on its head a little bit, we've talked a lot about the positive, and you are Mr PMA. You're quite literally flipping things as we speak. I can see for those watching, you'll understand. For those listening, you will not. What has been the most challenging period of your career, whether that's been personally or psychologically in terms of your mental health, or financially, if there's elements that have made you question this positive mental attitude? What has been the biggest challenge that you faced?
So a couple of things. So recently, so at the beginning of the first lockdown, so like March last year, I had this huge feeling of just being overwhelmed, like of everyone on Instagram was doing Instagram lives, and it just everyone would just seem to be doing things, and I was just like feeling overwhelmed of like having this like almost responsibility of, oh, because everyone else is doing something, I need to be doing something, and I can't be seen to not doing something. And it kind of like my head was just full of all this like, oh, what should I do? What do I do? What do I do? Yeah, I lost a couple of like Instagram gigs and contracts due to obviously us being in hospitality, potentially in that industry. So a couple of live events, a couple of hospitality. So I was losing money, and I had this overwhelming feeling of like, oh, okay, what do I do? What do I do? And, you know, I just sat down and I just spoke with my wife and start calming, like, okay, just relax, just, you know. We set out a little plan of what to do. I do, you know, a little Instagram live structure here, and I kind of waited to see what the marketplace was doing in terms of everyone started going, oh, guys, come and pay me this £5 for the online class, and all this type of stuff. So that was the most recent time where I felt a little bit down, almost like I didn't know what to do at the beginning of lockdown, and I just felt like everyone was doing other things, and I had, you know, my management and my other contracts like calling me, going, oh, can we do this? Can we do that? You know, it's all just like, oh, let's jump in this lockdown craze. It's like that. I was just like, whoa, slow down. So yeah, it kind of put me in a bad mood. I was, you know, I get into bad moods. I got into a bad mood for a couple of days, just with the uncertainty of everything. But once the dust settled, and I said, oh, do you know what? I'll start doing some online classes. Let's see if people want to do online classes with me, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then it started going. So for me, it was just talking to my wife about it and just having everything inside my head just put out into a physical conversation, rather than just literally headbutting a wall, so to speak. So that was like the most recent time where I can really kind of feel overwhelmed. But there's been a multiple of times over the years, Fergus, like when it's come down to me being tired, where I've worked too hard, like I've missed family birthdays and family occasions, and I would be a slave to my phone. You know, I'd be at a wedding and I'd be on my phone, like checking my inbox, checking my likes, like that neurological, like, I've forgotten what the word is. You know, when you get a like, an endorphin is released, and I put my hands up. I am 100%, not so much now, but back then I was 100% obsessed with the narcissist side of Instagram, and people liking what you do, and then realizing people don't really give a fuck what you do. It's just Instagram.
Do you feel you attach some of your identity to those numbers?
In the beginning, 100%. Like if a post didn't do well, I would be like, oh, what did I do wrong?
I'm a bad person.
Yeah, but back then, like I honestly didn't really know who I was in terms of just being content with who I am. And this is what I say, like, my son just opened my world and grounded me and taught me that there really are bigger things in life. And I had this huge, like, sit down with my family, and I apologized to them for the last few years of just always being on my phone at family occasions. I'd work. So my back then, for like a good 6 years, I would teach Monday to Saturday from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. That was like my day, even though there's only like 4 or 5 hours of work in that day, but it was spread out. And then it would come to the weekend, and we'd go over to see my mum, whatever, and I'd be on my phone. And that was what I would do for like 4 years. So I had a massive like sit down with my family, and I just apologized. I just said, look, I'm really sorry for not being present and just having my head on my phone. And if anything, the last year has taught us as well, it's like, you know, family family, 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 family. Family is the most important thing. So yeah, I'd say as a general, Fergus, overall in those years of when Instagram just started like doing this and booming, and I was on a slippery slope of just being like sucked into this fake world, because it's fake at the end of the day. Someone said to me once, like, if the internet shut down, would you be able to survive? The answer is right now, yes. I would happily encourage the internet to shut down right now. Yeah. But back then, if you asked me that question, I'd be like, no. Oh my God, no way. I need it. I need, it's that we're consumers in the society we're in right now. We just consume everything. It's take, and very little people actually give. So I'm trying to do my best to slip into the next 4 or 5 years of just giving, and not really caring about it.
So you were stuck in that cycle of being completely obsessed with work and everything that went around it, and then Rafi came along. That's a situation. The first part of that is a situation that a lot of people might find themselves in, where they're obsessed with their work, they're obsessed with bettering themselves, obsessed with doing everything they can because they think that's going to net the best result. But they might not have that life-changing situation, i.e. Rafi coming along. What do you think, to somebody in the situation you were in, would be the best thing for them to consider to try and help them not slip any further down that slope? Because I've been there myself. I know what it feels like, where you just tunnel visioned on what you want to do and nothing else, and it's hard to break that cycle.
Here's the thing, though. Like, I didn't know I was in that state. I didn't know I was like that consumed. It was just, for me, it was just normal. Like, I was happy, like, or so I thought. But it's a two-sided coin, because with all that hard work and all that time on my phone and liking and posting and creating content, whatever, like, the sacrifice was minimal time with, my wife and loved ones. But then we can argue the fact that all that hard work and creating content, whatever, got me into, virtual rooms of people saying, "Oh, this guy's good. Like, let's assign him to our brand," or it got me my management. So there's a very, very fine line of like committing yourself to a profession, whatever you want to call it, Instagram influencer, or how about, I don't consider myself that. I just put up content, but then I know that there are brands out there who, in this day and age, you can make a comfortable wage by creating content. Some people go, "Oh, what do you do?" "Oh, I'm a YouTuber. I'm a content creator." It's like, what is this? But this is the world we're in now. So it's a very fine line of working hard and putting all your energy into that social media side, but then just understanding that if it was to shut down, would you have your family around you? Would you have that close relationship with your loved ones? And that's what I realized. Like, it was heavily imbalanced, and I needed to balance it out.
Yeah.
So to answer your question real quickly, so I'm talking in the sense of people using social media as a business. But if you're using social media as literally just a bit of personal fun and interaction, and you find yourself like your screen time every week is like, an average of 9 hours a day, which is crazy. One of my weeks was an average of 9 hours a day on my phone, Fergus. What is going on? But if you're finding yourself in that situation, and you work at Marks and Spencer's, 9 to 5, but you're still managing to do 9 hours on your phone, then the way that I would say to get out of that, Fergus, is you need to have self-discipline, like this, which is the hardest thing to really grasp of having no screen time. Me and Louise, my wife, we do our best to, like, when it comes to, like, after Rafi's gone to bed, we do our best to put our phones down. We should really turn them off, but we face them down, put them on the other side of the room. We try to have that disconnection, or just simple things like if you're having dinner with whoever you live with, whatever you're having dinner, no phones at the table. There has to be a scheduled military time in your day where you shouldn't have your phone with you. And I put a post up the other day actually talking about swimming and the benefits of swimming. You know, it can help with your sleep, it can help with your anxiety, but someone actually commented saying, I didn't put this in, it also takes you away from your phone, because when you're working out, when you're on a run, Fergus, or when you're in the gym, your phone is with you. If you're on a run, you've got your heart rate monitor on, you're getting feedback, and something pings up and you know that you've got an email. But if you're swimming, you're swimming. There's no way you can be on your phone. And I thought, you know what, that's another fantastic point of that specific post. It's blocking in time of your day or your week where you are without your phone and you are free with your thoughts and just this nice sense of freedom. So that's what I would say to someone who is struggling and realizing that they're spending too much time on their phone. Just like you brush your teeth every morning, every night, we hope, you should structure in the time of day where you have no phone.
Yeah, especially given those that have been working at home, stuck at a desk under one roof for the past year or so. I mean, my screen time has been absurd, whether that's on my phone or on a laptop or on a iMac in front of me now. It's something that I'm aware of needs to change. But I think coming back to what we were saying before around the tunnel visioned sort of work ethic that can become very damaging for you and those around you, the key point that underlines that is that you need to be self-aware that it isn't sustainable. And yes, a period of working yourself harder than is sustainable might net results further down the line, but you can't do it forever. And as it's got you a position where you've got Rafi, you've got a garden for him to play in, etc. That's fantastic. And the question is, if you hadn't had that tunnel vision, would you have got there? We'll never know. But now you're in the position where you've learned that your identity is not attached to how hard you work. It's attached to the people you spend time with, how much time you can spend doing the things you enjoy. And I think it just comes down to inverting how you view success. If you view it as financial, as prestigious, job title, all this usual stuff, there's a trap sitting there for you to fall into. But as I think you put out there very clearly, it's how you interact with your own existence that's key.
Yeah, exactly. And if you honestly think about it, like Fergus, if we're being honest, like you've only got two, possibly three good friends, and then your family. So your actual network around you is minimal, unless you've got a family of 20 people. But do you know what I mean? So it's like you have very little opportunity to strengthen those relationships. So my son's just trying to be sneaky behind the
I can hear him giggling away.
Can you hear him?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Is he got anything to say? Any insights to share?
Come here. Right.
Rafi, how are you doing?
Say hello to Fergus. He's saying hello.
Hello.
Oh.
Tell him what you're eating.
Yeah.
What are you eating?
Orange.
Orange. Good boy.
That's a very delicate consumption of said orange as well. He seems to have calmed down from when we first jumped on the call.
Oh mate, yeah, completely. Yeah. Right, I love you. Can you let Daddy finish working? Go, mummy. Good boy. Love you.
Brief interlude, but what a great example! What a great example of why all these things that we've discussed are so important, eh? I mean,
definitely.
That's it. It's something I'm looking forward to later in life.
Mate.
Yeah.
And it's like you don't need to have a kid to like to realize this, but it's like I was saying, like you just need to strengthen those relationships, and especially in this last year, we've realized like who we want to spend our time with. Do you know what I mean? Like who really are our friends, who are the members of our families that we want to spend more time with, because not everybody loves their brother the same way as I love my brother or whoever. Do you know what I mean? So it's just strengthening those relationships. So when times like a global pandemic comes, we have that security to fall back on. So that's what I mean by just, making sure that when you do switch your phone off, you're not alone as well. It's great to have that time away from your phone, but to be alone, it's not a good place to be. And regardless of what you think, if you're happy being alone, you're not. You need to have. We're human beings. We are social animals. We need that love. We need that security feeling. So
I mean, it needs to be in person as well. I think we've managed to substitute it for the past year due to circumstances, but I am just absolutely loving driving through Edinburgh at the moment and seeing people kicking about, whether they're sitting having dinner, sitting having a pint, or just walking their dogs together. I think it's fantastic to see. So onwards and upwards, fingers crossed. So
definitely
no more bumps in the road. But before we finish up, your 3 easiest wins for people to live a more PMA-focused lifestyle.
So I'll repeat it again. Replace have with get, okay? Because that will switch your mindset straight away. Number 2, when you have negative thoughts, when you are having that internal battle with yourself, talk to someone that you love. So talking is probably the best self-medicine that you could give yourself. I was the person who never talked. I thought I was this alpha male, super strong, blah, blah, blah. I'm not. None of us are, regardless of what you may think. We have to talk. And number 3, try to see the best in everything. It's almost like just saying yes to everything. Like life is so short. It really is, and we just need to grab every opportunity that we have and just enjoy it. So try to search for the best in everything, because there is going to be a glimmer of positivity in a dark situation. So that's what I would say.
Completely agree. And even as somebody who lives and breathes those things, it's nice to be reminded through, as you've said, talking about it. And definitely, as you'll know, I'm a huge proponent of simple conversations can go an enormously long way. So keep having them. But thank you very much. Really enjoyed that, Faisal. Some great insights there, and hopefully some things that listeners and viewers can take away.
Thank you, everyone who has listened and watched. And Fergus, thank you, mate. I think what you're doing is amazing through your fitness and through your history and your experience. So, mate, not just saying this, I think you're an amazing person. And thank you for having me on. I feel privileged that you've asked me to be a part of this awesome podcast. And can't wait for our next little adventure, mate.
Agreed. Appreciate it as well. Thank you very much. Speak soon.
All right. Love you, mate. Peace.